Welcome to Election 2013. Hi, I'm Mary Glassman. I'm honored to be Simsbury's first selectman, and I'm proud of what we've accomplished for the people of Simsbury, working with so many dedicated volunteers. My husband Andy and I moved to Simsbury nearly 30 years ago. We raised our children here, and now that Amanda, Nathan, and Sam are out of the house, we're now empty nesters, and we look forward to growing old in this wonderful community. This is an important election on Tuesday, November 5th, and I'd like to spend the next few minutes introducing you to my team so you can hear why we are running for office and what we plan to do for you over the next 2 years. I'd like to introduce you to Deputy First Selectman Lisa Heavner, who's running for re-election, a newcomer, Jay DeVivo, who's a member of the Economic Development Commission, and Selectman Shannon Knall, who's running again for re-election for the Board of Selectmen. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you for running for office. This is an important election. I thought we'd just take a few minutes to have you introduce yourselves to our residents and our voters, and talk a little bit about why you're running for re-election. Lisa.
All right, thanks, Mary. It is my pleasure to be running with you and with this wonderful team and our whole team. As you know, Mary, I'm running for my third term for re-election, and I got into this in much the same way many people get involved in volunteering in the community. I started out in the schools, and that's where I met you. And you came to me and said, Lisa, I just want you to continue your volunteerism, but at the town level. And so, of course, I said no. Right? So it took a little persuasion, because we don't often think of going into politics as something we want to do. It's not something I ever thought that I wanted to do. But the fact is, almost everyone in office in the town level is a volunteer. They do this without pay, and they do it because in Simsbury, we're small enough that we can make a difference. And what we do, we can make Simsbury better working together. And for me, what service to our community means working with you, friends and neighbors, to create a livable and walkable, vibrant business community downtown. It means supporting our education. It means working with our senior citizens. It means continuing the work, Mary, that we've done, and Shannon, you as your first term, in being conservative with our fiscal management for the residents of Simsbury. And finally, it means looking to grow our tax base so that we can ease our residential tax burden. And these are all things we can do together and that I'm excited to do with this team.
And congratulations to you, Lisa. I know that you are also an empty nester.
Oh.
Both of your children are off to college, so you'll have a lot more time.
You're right, I don't like to talk about that, but this is true.
And welcome, Jay.
Thank you. My name is Jay DeVivo. I'm running for Board of Selectmen for the first time. My wife, Kelly, and I returned to Connecticut about 11 years ago to start our family. And we chose Simsbury because of the schools, but also because it's really a unique and charming place, and it has a lifestyle that's difficult to find. So now we have two boys, Jameson and Griffin, who are in 4th and 2nd grades at Squadron School, so we're the opposite end of the kids spectrum. And they remind us every day why we chose Simsbury. And I'm really excited to be running with you and with your team. You guys have made Simsbury a top place to live, and to keep Simsbury a top place to live, we need to not only preserve what makes Simsbury so special, but we also need to create new reasons why people are going to choose to call Simsbury home, both people and businesses. And a part of that is economic development. And I think it's important that everyone understand that we don't need to choose between growth and preserving what makes Simsbury special. We really can do both, because employers have families too. So all the reasons that we decided to come to Simsbury, they're all going to want to come here for those same reasons too. So part of the reason I'm running for Board of Selectmen is to help Simsbury use its unique strengths to create some responsible growth opportunities for the town. I've been in business for about 20 years. In the course of that, I've helped startup companies grow. I've helped large companies manage billion-dollar risks. So I think I have a good handle as to kind of what business needs to thrive. So I'm hoping on November 5th, everyone will give me a chance to help make certain that Simsbury, remains a top place to live and work and learn for many years to come.
Thanks, Jane. And we're really excited with your background in business entrepreneurship and your experience in business. We're really glad that you have decided to serve the people of Simsbury. So good luck.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
And Shannon, welcome.
Thank you, Mary, and Lisa and Jay. I'm pleased to be here with all of you. It's been a privilege and an honor to serve the town of Simsbury with Lisa and with you, Mary. And I welcome your expertise to our team. I think that we have a really strong team going forward on November 5th. My husband and I moved to Simsbury almost 11 years ago. We have 3 boys. Jack, Patrick, and Jameson, another Jameson. I have a middle schooler. Jack just started middle school, and Patrick and Jameson are at Latimer. So my reason for running is kind of accidental, as I say. I found myself being involved in politics because of my son, who was diagnosed with autism, and being able to advocate at the state and federal level for changes for people with disabilities is really how I kind of fell into politics. And it's been a wonderful experience for me to be able to bring what I have learned on the state level and advocating for people with disabilities and doing some grassroots legislation. It's been a wonderful opportunity for me to bring that back to Simsbury and to be able to serve the community that I love, the community that my family lives in and will remain in for years to come, I hope, be what it is today. And it's been a privilege to do that with both of you as well. So I look forward to the opportunity to continue to work for Simsbury over the next 2 years.
Thanks, Shannon. And thanks for all your hard work in Simsbury for autism and also at the state level, and all your work with the aging and disability community and seniors as well. So we'd like to move on to one of the reasons we're running for re-election, and I think I'd like to hit on so many topics, but the first one I think is fiscal responsibility. When I first took office 6 years ago, again, returning to Simsbury, I noticed that the budget increases were completely out of control. And I took office day one and froze the first selectman's salary and have kept it frozen since the day I took office. And working with all of you, we've been really able to really control spending to the lowest levels in the town's history. So I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about why our team will deliver fiscal responsibility to the town. I think that our record, if you look over the last 6 years, has been dramatically different than the record before. We've had some of the lowest budgets. We're really keeping spending at the 2008 level, which I think is unheard of in any town. So maybe we could talk a little bit about our principles, our policies, about what we're going to do to keep taxes low for our residents. So, Lisa.
Well, thanks, Mary, and thanks for your leadership on this. That is one thing that we're all very proud of how we've steered Simsbury through this difficult economic time. The 2008 recession was one of the worst that our nation has seen, and it's something that we responded to, I think, appropriately and strongly. And one of the things, Mary, you mentioned the 2008 level. If you look at what the town spent in 2008, that's 2008, and what we're spending today, there's a $15,000 difference over that amount of time. And what that means is it's not that we've kept things flat. To sustain that level, we've actually had to make a number of cuts, look for efficiencies. And I want to point out, Mary, one of the things you've been a strong leader in and that the town of Simsbury has really pushed for, even at the state level, is regional cost-sharing initiatives. Because there are 169 towns in the state of Connecticut, and we're duplicating services, we're duplicating equipment, and it's important that we look for efficiencies because efficiencies save money, and that's one of the things we've been very strong at. And another thing we've done is we've returned operating surpluses. So we budget, and even throughout the year, we look for cost savings and ways to save money.
Exactly, and that's a good point, Lisa. The town budget is about 1/4 of the overall budget. So while we don't control the Board of Education budget, that's voted on separately by our elected officials of the Board of Ed. We've been really instrumental in controlling costs on the town side, and I want to thank you for your leadership in for the first time in reforming the pension plan for the town of Simsbury employees, which will now go from a defined benefit to a defined contribution option. And that it will be a significant savings for our taxpayers. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Expenditures are one side of the equation, revenues are another, and I thought maybe Jay could talk a little bit about what we're doing to grow the tax base in our community, some of the planning efforts that we have done that have been very proactive in bringing new businesses in.
Yeah, absolutely. There's two sides, and on the cost side, you really have done a fantastic job. Not only on the pension piece and being conservative there, but also in light of the fact that from the state level, 8 cents of every dollar we send to Hartford comes back. So you've really had kind of with one arm tied around your back, really done a fantastic job. And on the growth side, Simsbury is a fantastic community, and it's really a competitive advantage, for us as we seek to bring new businesses in. Of course, the big issue that is on everyone's minds, understandably, is the Hartford. And we've said this many times that nobody wants to lose, their biggest taxpayer. The Hartford accounts for almost 2% of our revenue, but this really is an opportunity to find a new platform for economic growth for the next 30 years. And Hartford's really been a terrific partner. I mean, the relationship really, people need to understand, it's really an unprecedented relationship where, a company is leaving the community, not by choice. They've divested businesses. The businesses that were housed in Simsbury, the Hartford no longer has. So that's why they're leaving. They didn't choose to leave Simsbury. And they've really made us a partner in the process of figuring out what the next use for their campus is.
And I think that's a good point for folks who may not be aware. The Hartford and the town partnered to be proactive in looking for reuse of the facility and bringing in new revenue. And the Hartford is, it's unprecedented that a town and a private partner have really done this kind of proactive planning. But that's our theme in Simsbury. I think we've been able to keep our town keeping the unique character because of our good planning. And that's led to tremendous results. And I know Shannon, as a former Economic Development Commission member, maybe you could talk a little bit about the new businesses that have come up over the last 6 years as a result of some of the mixed-use regulations that we've put in place.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Mary. And I do want to add, before I mention that, I think it's a great testament to your leadership and to the work that you have done, Lisa, as well, that people are tightening their purse strings all over the country, and so is Simsbury. The people of Simsbury are doing that, and we recognize that, and we recognize that these are terrible economic times, and so we have been able to tighten our purse strings as well. And so I think it's a testament to the work that you have done on that. So thank you for that. As Jay said, there is opportunity in Simsbury. Even though the Hartford is leaving, there is opportunity for new growth. We have the Big Y that is about to go in Simsbury, which brings some new revenue and some new excitement to that end of town. So that was exciting. We have a new Dunkin' Donuts at the other end of town, which is also a great feature because for many of us who live on that side of town, it's a great convenience, and some additional housing projects that are going in as well. We also have an exciting housing specifically designated for people with disabilities, which are going in town, which is sort of a new and unique opportunity for any community, but I'm really excited that that's happening in Simsbury as well.
That's exactly right. The multiple sclerosis housing will be the first in New England. That is right next to the urgent care center. We have the new mixed-use housing at Millwrights. We brought in the 5-star restaurant at Millwrights. We also have mixed-use housing there as well with apartments and condominiums. There's a ribbon cutting at Potter Forest, which we recently held for additional housing, empty nester housing, and another ribbon cutting today for Kingsbridge, which is housing behind Dunkin' Donuts. So there's a lot happening throughout the town. There's shovels in the ground. There's more than $17 million of new projects that are in the ground. And I think it's a credit to the volunteers who see the value in proactive planning, the fact that we put regulations in place which encourage growth, which saves developers money. I think it puts the town in a very good stead going forward, and that's a priority as we move forward over the next 2 years to really continue those relationships and to continue to grow our tax base. So those are exciting times. There's just one more thing about the AAA bond rating, because you mentioned, all around us it's difficult economic times. The state had, and it reminded me of Lisa because she says always at the state, the state bond rating has been downgraded. We have seen other communities that have been downgraded, but Simsbury has been upgraded to a AAA bond rating for the first time in the history of the town, and it's because of our fiscal planning. It's not because we sit here and say that we're doing a good job, but it's because Wall Street sees us doing a good job and has rewarded us with that designation, and that translates into saving taxpayer dollars. Lisa and then Jay.
The thing I was going to point out, and this carries on to what Jay was saying, one of the things we've done in Simsbury, which is unique, is we passed the first form-based zoning code.
Yes.
And why that is important is as we grow to develop our town, we want to, as Jay said, preserve what is special about Simsbury. And what that code enables us to do is shape the outward appearances so that we retain our New England charm. Because what we build today will be with us for 50 years. And so we want to make sure we get it right. And we have the regulations and zones in place so that we can.
Exactly. Jay.
Actually, that was one of the things I was going to mention, Lisa, as a matter of fact. The form-based code that does two things. It allows us to preserve, but it also simplifies the process for developers so that it's quicker to go from kind of concept to shovel in the ground when you have a form-based code. And then with respect to the AAA rating, in addition to something to feel good about, the reason why it's so important is that when we do undertake capital projects, a AAA rating lowers our borrowing costs. So it costs us less to do projects. So when we have a AAA bond rating, then communities, states, and countries that have lower bond ratings. So that's why it's really so important to the town.
Exactly. So as we head into the last few minutes of our discussion, I think it's important for voters to know to vote for us and for our team if you want fiscal responsibility, if you want to preserve the character of Simsbury, and maybe we could just take a couple minutes about why else voters who are trying to make up their minds about why else they should vote to continue our service. Lisa.
Well, the first thing I would say is you hit the two priorities on that. But in addition to that, we know that almost 70% of the tax dollars goes to education, and most of us moved here because of education. But because of that, we need to make sure that education remains relevant to the entire community, especially our senior citizens who continue to support education once their children have graduated, like mine. But, and so we've worked very hard to do that by increasing services, making sure they're getting what they need, and increased dial-a-ride funding and services. And I started, as you know, and Mary, you've been very supportive of the senior citizen outreach, where we go to the schools, and the schools have been wonderful partners in opening up their community to our entire community and welcoming seniors in with VIP passes, senior citizen nights.
Great. Jay.
Sometimes we forget, living here every day, how spectacular a town this really is. I have people who come in from across the country, and they're like, wow, Simsbury is a fantastic place. What a terrific town. And everything that we've done, preserving the open space, the bike trails, the kayaking, the hiking, all of that stuff isn't just beautiful and add to our quality of life, but it really is a competitive advantage as we're seeking to bring new business to town. Why they want to come here, all that stuff, because businesses are run by and staffed by people, and who wouldn't want to live in that community? So I think we need to kind of remember kind of how valuable it really is.
Great. Shannon.
Thank you, and I would echo everything that has been said already, but I think one of the things that I am most proud of about your team, Mary, is the commitment to open government and transparency in government. And I think that's really important in a community like ours, where our boards and commissions are staffed, if you will, by volunteers and other members of the community who have a vested interest in how Simsbury moves forward. And I think that commitment to open government, transparency, having a voice in your government is something that we should be very proud of, and a reason that people should vote for us on November 5th.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us for election 2013. We ask for your vote on Tuesday, November 5th. We've been proud to represent you. We listen to you. We want to hear from you. If you have any concerns, please contact us. And we look forward to representing you as we continue to make Simsbury one of the very best places to live in the country. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mary Glassman, Simsbury's first selectman, and I ask you to vote for me and my team on Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. I am proud of my record of hard work for the people of Simsbury. The job of first selectman is a wonderful and complicated one. As an attorney and former newspaper reporter, I've been honored by the opportunity to use my skills to bring important legislative and labor negotiation changes to benefit the people of Simsbury. During these economic times, it's important for Simsbury to have the experienced leadership that my team will bring to keep Simsbury moving forward. Over the next few minutes, I would like to share with you our top 5 priorities for the people of Simsbury over the next 2 years. First, we will continue to bring fiscal responsibility to Simsbury. When I first took office in 2007, I was committed to end the pattern of large budget increases. With improved technology, challenging labor negotiations, and regional cooperation, we've been able to significantly reduce town spending. I am proud that today's 2013 town budget remains at the town's 2008 budget level. I'm also proud that we have reduced the size of Simsbury's government and have worked to increase the number of volunteers supporting our town. I'm proud that we have returned operating surpluses each year to our rainy day fund. In fact, through complicated labor negotiations, we have introduced the town's first defined contribution pension plan, bringing our municipal pension plan in line with the private sector for the first time. Second, we will continue to protect Simsbury's quality of life. Just recently, Simsbury received the top best places to live by CNN Money Magazine. But we just didn't receive this award once, we received it 3 times. This honor is a result of the dedicated hard work by so many volunteers who have worked to make our town the first bicycle-friendly community in the state, and to bring events like the Olympic kayaking trials to Terrifield Gorge. These honors bring national recognition and tourism dollars to our community and help reduce our tax base. Third, we will continue to strategically plan for Simsbury's future and to grow our tax base. I'm proud that Simsbury passed the first form-based code in Connecticut to preserve the look of our town. Our new mixed-use zoning codes have encouraged new businesses, such as the St. Francis Urgent Care Clinic, new housing for residents with multiple sclerosis, the new Millwrights Restaurant, and the relocation of Metro Beast to the Simsbury 1820 House, new apartments and townhouses, and a planned Big Y supermarket, bringing more than $17 million in new business to our town. Most importantly, we have created a unique public-private partnership with the Hartford to plan for new opportunities at the Hartford site, resulting in the sale of the product lines. Our fourth priority is that we will continue to provide transparency in government and to find new opportunities for our residents to be involved in town government. Simsbury's town budget is online for the first time. We've increased communication during emergency disasters to keep our residents safe and informed. We have created a neighbor-to-neighbor program to reach out to our most vulnerable citizens. And we have created a technology task force to find ways to make it even easier for our residents to access information and services. And finally, we will continue to advocate to protect your rights, whether locally, at the state, or at the national level. I've been honored to represent Simsbury as the president of the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities. where we have successfully advocated for more educational cost sharing for our town and have avoided new unfunded mandates. We have been a regional leader and have collaborated on voluntary regional sharing to save tax dollars. And our successful clean water advocacy efforts and testimony to oppose the Metropolitan District Water Diversion Plan has led to protection of the Farmington River and our clean water. The job of First Selectman in Simsbury is an important and complicated one. As the town's Chief Executive Officer, I work every day to find new ways to provide better service at reduced costs for our residents. My husband and Andy and I have moved to Simsbury nearly 30 years ago. We moved here to raise our children, Amanda, Nathan, and Sam, in a wonderful community that provides excellent schools and a unique quality of life. I ask for your vote so I continue to work hard to make sure that we can continue to enjoy all that is best in Simsbury for generations to come. Please remember to vote for me, Mary Glassman, and my team on Tuesday, November 5th, so we continue to work hard for you.
Hello, I am Lisa Heavner, and I am running for re-election to the Board of Selectmen. Over the past 4 years, I have worked hard as part of the Mary Glassman team to make Simsbury a great community in which to live, work, learn, and play. I ask for your support and vote on November 5th so I can continue to work with you and build upon our success. My husband Jim and I met at Georgetown Law School, where we both earned our degrees. 10 years ago, we moved to Simsbury with our sons, Rob and Mike, when Jim accepted a job at the Hartford. We chose Simsbury for its excellent schools, its charming New England setting, and its many green, open spaces. This fall, we're empty nesters, with both boys off to college. Through the years, we watched Rob and Mike thrive both in school and local activities, crew, cross-country skiing, track, and the robotics team, to name a few. We plan on staying in Simsbury for many years to come because of the wonderful people we've met and the many friends we've made. One of the great things about Simsbury is that it's small enough for each of us to make a difference. For me, service to our community means working with friends and neighbors to make Simsbury better, building a vibrant business community with an active and walkable town center, strengthening education, supporting our senior citizens, protecting our environment, encouraging sensible economic development, and maintaining our commitment to fiscal responsibility. These last 4 years, Simsbury has seen its share of challenges. We had 5 major storms and one of the largest economic downturns in our nation's history. I am proud of the work we have done to enable Simsbury to successfully meet each challenge. The storms tested our emergency responses. We cleared roads, enhanced public safety, and cared for 7,000 people who visited our shelter, and increased communications to keep you informed. I was inspired by how Simsbury came together with countless acts of kindness. But I also saw elderly and disabled residents needing help. In response, I initiated the Neighbor to Neighbor program. Today, the town works with churches and assisted living and senior housing facilities to ensure we are reaching out to those in need. To help our seniors stay connected to the community, we also increased dial-a-ride funding and services. I worked hard for you in the shelter and in the Emergency Operations Center, and I will continue to work hard to ensure that we are ready for whatever emergency comes next. Responding to the challenge of our new economy, I have helped deliver fiscal responsible management for Simsbury because I understand that the money the town spends comes out of your pocket. To save you money, we reined in spending and returned to operating surpluses, planned for future responsible development, and reduced the size of government. This year, working with other pension committee members, I proactively reviewed town pensions to make sure they are adequately funded, fair, and affordable. And Simsbury negotiated its first defined contribution plan, further saving taxpayer dollars. Knowing that our residents and businesses are still recovering from the 2008 recession, I testified and led the town's opposition against the Aquarian Water Company's proposed 23% rate increase. Finally, I initiated the town's technology committee to explore cost savings. For the first time, the town's budget is online and residents can make tax payments online. Moody's has recognized our efforts with a AAA bond rating for the last 2 years, the best rating a town can get and one that saves taxpayer dollars. I will continue to keep a tight watch on our budgets and maintain Simsbury's unprecedented fiscal responsibility. Quality education is what brought our family to Simsbury and may be what brought you here as well. We as a community value education, and a first-class school system is vital to our local economy. It keeps home values stable and is a key determining factor for prospective homeowners and businesses. I have a long and successful record as a partner in education, as a former PTC president at Henry James, and as a member of the high school leadership team for 4 years, to name just a few. Working to strengthen education and support our seniors, I created an ongoing partnership between our schools and town, resulting in senior citizen VIP passes, senior nights at Simsbury High School, student performances and visits to senior centers, and seniors volunteering in the schools. I will continue to work to keep education meaningful to all members of our community, especially our senior citizens whose tax dollars support education long after their children have graduated. Knowing how important it is to maintain Simsbury's rural and historic charm for future generations, I have been a strong proponent of responsible environmental stewardship of Simsbury's farms, woods, rivers, and scenic views. I have supported the Simsbury Land Trust partnerships that leverage town money with state and federal grant money to make preservation more affordable. We have banned outdoor toxic wood-burning furnaces and supported organic farming on town land. This year, I testified with Mary Glassman against the MDC proposal to divert the Farmington River for development needs in faraway towns. And I am happy to report today that this option is now off the table. I will continue to advocate for our environment. Finally, I understand that in order to keep Simsbury a CNN Money Magazine Best Place to Live, we will need to grow our tax base. That is why I have supported strategic and proactive planning initiatives to prepare for Simsbury's future. This year, I successfully advocated for funding a town marketing study to ensure we are able to assist and attract businesses which may want to locate in our town. You can see the status of that work at simsburystrategy.com. While it is essential that we grow to increase the tax base, we must do so with care, without changing what is special about Simsbury. That is why I supported the new form-based zoning code that enables our town to shape the outward appearances and look of new development, ensuring Simsbury retains its New England charm. As your selectman, I will continue to work hard for you and always listen to what you have to say. I truly believe we are a wonderful community because of the commitment of our volunteers and the culture of respect that defines us. I am Lisa Heavner, candidate for the Board of Selectmen in Simsbury. Thank you for your support, and I ask for your vote on November 5th so I can continue to work hard for you and keep Simsbury a place my boys will want to return to.
Hi, I'm Simsbury Selectman Shannon Knall, and I'm asking for your vote on November 5th so I can continue to work for Simsbury. My experience as a mom, a school volunteer, and an autism advocate has prepared me to work hard to continue to make Simsbury a great place to live. I'm running with a great team, Simsbury First Selectman Mary Glassman, Deputy First Selectman Lisa Heavner, and our newest team member, Jay DeVivo. I believe, and my record shows, that the average citizen can have an active role in his or her government. I'm running for office because I am committed to responsible development while preserving the beautiful open space that makes Simsbury so special. This is our home, and we want it to be the best it can be, not just for my family, but for generations to come. My husband Mark and I have 3 children in the school system, Jack at Henry James and Jameson and Patrick at Latimer Lane. I believe in supporting our educational system for people of all abilities, and I know that to keep Simsbury a special place, we must commit to making Simsbury affordable for families and senior citizens alike. I know you join me in being proud to live in the state's first bicycle-friendly community and among the top 50 places to live by Money Magazine. I have used my experience as a selectman, economic development commissioner, and advocate on the Board of Selectmen to help make life better for the families of Simsbury. Our family moved to Simsbury more than 10 years ago when our son Jack was just 2. Having grown up in the Farmington Valley, I knew I wanted to raise my family in the area. We chose Simsbury because of the exceptional school systems, the lifetime opportunities for community involvement, and of course the beautiful surroundings. Little did we know that Jack would be diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder shortly after our move and would require the services of Simsbury's Ready, Set, Go program, an inclusive educational program designed specifically for children with autism. Patrick and Jameson do not require these services, but their education is of equal importance to me. A solid, comprehensive education is critical for the future of every child. As selectman, I recognize that in the face of one of the worst fiscal crises this country has ever known, we need to make our dollars do more. I voted in favor of a budget that efficiently supports Simsbury's infrastructure without creating excessive taxes. The 2014 budget emulates a 5-year series of fiscally conservative budgets proposed under the leadership of First Selectman Mary Glassman and Deputy First Selectman Lisa Heavner, and I was proud to support it. I believe one of my jobs as selectman is to identify and fill needs within our community. In partnership with the Simsbury Junior Women's Club, I was proud to introduce the first annual Simsbury Women's Forum. The forum evolved out of conversations with women in our community about the issues they faced: caring for elderly parents, re-entering the workforce, self-care, and managing busy lifestyles. This is an event I hope to continue. I am also very proud of my work as a liaison to the Aging and Disability Commission in support of their efforts to educate and advocate on behalf of those in our community who need a voice. We have a vibrant senior population in Simsbury, one which is active and involved in planning for our future. It is a necessary part of my job as selectman to ensure that these voices are heard, that appropriate services are provided, and equal opportunity is available for all. I have learned to be a successful advocate for families with autism and currently serve as Connecticut's policy chair for Autism Speaks, working to pass insurance laws and laws to provide tax incentives to businesses who hire people with intellectual disabilities. I am most proud of the fact that all of the legislation I have worked on has been passed with nearly unanimous bipartisan support. I was recently appointed by the Department of Public Health to the first legislative task force in the country studying PANDAS, otherwise known as pediatric autoimmune disorder associated with strep. On the federal level, I have worked with the entire congressional delegation to support these same issues, and as a result, Connecticut is consistently on the front lines of legislation regarding autism and intellectual disabilities. From town hall to the halls of the Capitol in Hartford to the halls of Congress in Washington, D.C., I'm about finding common ground and getting the job done. At the same time, you may have seen me at Squadron Line, Henry James, or Latimer Lane, where my children have attended, at their school plays, in the classroom, or at an open house. In 2010, I co-founded a tennis camp for children with autism here in Simsbury and had the pleasure of working with so many extraordinary student volunteers from Simsbury High School, Westminster, and Ethel Walker to provide a unique camp experience. This past summer, we operated our 3rd successful season of Well Served Tennis Academy, providing a camp experience for 20 children from across the state. Simsbury is not just my home, it is my place of business, and I want to make that community as robust as I can. As selectman, I have put my skills as a legislative advocate to work for Simsbury, testifying before the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority against unfounded water rate increases by Aquarian. As the board liaison to the Tourism Committee, I am proud to have been a part of another successful volunteer expo, which highlights the numerous organizations within our community and provides opportunity for service. Simsbury's bike paths, hiking trails, restaurants, and hotels make the town attractive to tourists, and I look forward to continuing to work with the Tourism Committee to ensure ongoing opportunities to attract people to our town. As a Simsbury selectman, I promise you that I will bring the determination and commitment I have for everything I do to the job. My record shows I don't give up. Simsbury has been good to our family, and it has been an honor to put my experience to work and give back by serving on the Board of Selectmen. I'm Shannon Knall, and I ask for your vote for Selectmen on Election Day, November 5th. There is still time to register to vote or get an absentee ballot. I look forward to continuing my work for you on the Simsbury Board of Selectmen.
Hi, my name is Jay DeVivo, and I am both honored and excited to be a candidate for Simsbury's Board of Selectmen. Mary Glassman and her team have done a fantastic job of making Simsbury a best place to live, and I'm thrilled to be joining Lisa Heavner and Shannon Knall on Mary's team this year. My wife Kelly and I returned to Connecticut from California 11 years ago to start our family. Like most parents looking for a place to raise their kids, an outstanding school system was at the top of our list. But we also wanted to give our children a richer environment than the sprawl and sameness of most suburbs. We were looking to join a vibrant community that was close to nature and culture. We soon learned we were looking for Simsbury. A decade later, we have two boys, Jameson and Griffin, who are in 4th and 2nd grades at Squadron Line School. Through school, sports, and community groups, we have gotten to know so many incredible people that help make Simsbury great. I'm running to help Mary and her team keep Simsbury a best place to live. To do that, we must not only preserve what makes Simsbury special, but also create new reasons why people and businesses will choose to call Simsbury home. An important part of this is expanding our economic base. As I've been campaigning, I have learned just how much people really love Simsbury. When I ask for suggestions, most people tell me that expanding our tax base is important, but they also express concern about continuing to preserve Simsbury's unique character. The good news is growth and protecting what makes Simsbury special is not an either-or proposition. My top priority as selectman will be refining Simsbury's responsible growth strategy. I view a responsible growth opportunity as achieving at least one of these three things: enhancing the quality of life for residents, attracting visitors, or generating high net tax revenue for the town without negatively impacting quality of life. Simsbury is home to many small businesses that are doing a great job on the first two. These businesses are critical to attracting and keeping people in Simsbury and are collectively vital to our economic health. It is important that we do all we can to help these companies be successful, and as selectmen, I will be actively soliciting their input. To really move the needle on expanding the grand list, we must attract businesses that are high net revenue generators. Mary has been instrumental in engaging the broader business community and letting the world know that Simsbury is open for business, and we need to build on that momentum. Economic success is increasingly predicated on the ability to innovate. We will focus on attracting companies in 5 industries key to the innovation economy where we have a critical mass of talent locally. These are financial services and insurance, bioscience, precision manufacturing and aerospace, clean tech, and digital media. Companies in these industries are the perfect fit for Simsbury. We are set up for success because we have invested so wisely in critical assets. We have outstanding schools, and nearly a third of our land is protected, meaning our trails, rivers, and vistas, and all of the recreational amenities they provide will be enjoyed for generations to come. This focus has created a wonderfully unique quality of life that is a real competitive advantage in attracting new business. The nature of work is changing. As lines between work and leisure blur, people need and expect a rewarding environment to which they can really connect. Leaders recognize that locating their businesses in places like Simsbury is not just nice for employees, but it also has a positive impact on their bottom lines. With all Simsbury has to offer, I am confident we will attract these new opportunities to Simsbury if we give it our full effort. Throughout my career, I have been an entrepreneur and consulted for startups and multinational companies. I'm currently an assistant vice president for risk management at a large insurance company, and I also serve on Simsbury's Economic Development Commission. I understand what businesses need to thrive, and I work effectively across many different groups to get things done. I feel lucky to live in Simsbury. On November 5th, I hope you will give me the chance to help make certain Simsbury remains a best place to live, work, and learn for a long time to come. My name is DeVivo, and I hope you vote for me on Tuesday, November 5th. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda Schofield,
And I'm Jeff Tyndall.
and we're running for the Board of Finance.
Hey, Linda, I think most people remember you as a state representative for 6 years, but I think they'd be interested to know a little bit more about your background and where you've been, and what are you doing now?
Having fun. Yeah, before I ran for state representative, I started my career as a nurse, and I worked in the insurance industry for many years. I had my own small business doing consulting work. And I also ran the Medicaid program for the state of Connecticut. And now I'm really enjoying retirement, doing lots of volunteer work. I still am very active with the ABC House here in town as co-president, and joined the board of McLean's, and I'm on the Performing Arts Center board, and a number of other volunteer activities. I won't bore you with the whole list. And I'm also having fun, playing some tennis and doing a lot of hiking. And I'm actually planning a triathlon for next summer as kind of an economic development activity for the town, to bring some people to town.
So in town?
It'll be in town, to show outsiders what great assets we have here in the outdoor parts of Simsbury.
Great.
So,
Great.
How about you? Tell people about your background.
Born and raised in Simsbury, went through the public school system in Westminster, and
And I have to say, until you started running, I actually never knew you were a Simsbury homeboy.
Born and bred. After college, I spent 14 years in Washington, D.C., working for various government affairs shops, and primarily working at America's Health Insurance Plans, the trade association for the health insurance industry. And then back in 2004, I jumped at the chance to come home and to work at Cigna, where I am now. And now I just having fun, chasing my 5 and 7-year-old boys, enjoying watching them play on the same fields and go to the same schools, get the same great education that I did when I was their age.
Well, it's great to have your kids, back in our good school system.
Absolutely.
Beats the heck out of DC's school.
Yes, sure. Amen.
So why are you running for Board of Finance?
Well, like you, I want to give back to my community. I think improving your community is an obligation we all have. These positions are not lifetime appointments, and I think a fresh perspective is always good for any organization. I may not have run before, but I've certainly been working behind the scenes, working on different issues, that people may not have seen. But I've been active behind the scenes.
And I know that well, because you've been the chair of the Democratic Town Committee, and maybe not everybody thinks of those positions as public service, but they really are, because both the Republican and Democratic Town Committee people are the ones who give the rest of the voters a choice.
Thank you.
And you did it very well, so thanks for all your service there.
Thank you. But why I'm running now is, we really need to address the taxes in this town. I think we've got a fundamental problem in the taxes. I look and watch my parents, came to this town when they were in their 20s. They bought a house on Minister Brook, and capturing those young families is just uncommon these days. And on the flip side of that, we need to make sure our seniors aren't being pushed out of town by the tax structure. So we really need to get our arms around that more than we are today. I think we need to examine the cost efficiencies. Mary Glassman's involvement in the Council of Small Towns and the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, and looking at efficiencies, not just within the town, but amongst the surrounding towns, has been a vast improvement. It's saved a lot of dollars for this town.
And has the potential to save more.
Absolutely, absolutely. Although no one wants to see the Hartford leave, this really presents an opportunity for Simsbury to look at how they want this town to look and feel. I think this is a time where we can really get creative and think out of the box. One of the most creative ideas that I've heard so far is being put forth by DeVivo, who's really suggested taking that building and using it as an incubator program. I think that's a fabulous idea that we really should look into. And how do you get that creative thinking? You encourage more public participation and transparency in government. Right now, the Board of Finance sets the parameters, the budget parameters for both the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education. But that's the public participation that is extremely limited. That's got to change, and we need to encourage greater participation by our residents. I mean, there's a whole host of groups in town that would love to host a forum or an event to talk about the finances of this town.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. One of the things I enjoyed doing as a state representative was helping to educate people as I was being educated and as I was learning in my role about how the process works. And I think it's become clear to me very few people really understand how the finances of the town work. And yeah, there's a lot we could do to write articles and make that information more accessible. Not that they haven't tried to do that with town meetings, but I think we need to go further and
Absolutely.
and bring that out a little more.
So why are you running, and what do you see as the big issues for the Board of Finance?
I enjoy public service. I enjoyed my time as a state representative, giving back to my community, and so I'm happy to do that. And I also feel like I learned a lot in my role as state representative about government financing, and have some of that background also from my business years. And so I think I would bring some skills to the board that could be useful. And when I was state representative, one of the things I was noted for was taking the lead in developing alternative budgets for the Democrats to look at, for anybody to look at. And while they weren't adopted in whole, many of the ideas that I brought forward, some of what you were talking about, trying to be creative, some of those ideas ended up being adopted ultimately, not necessarily that year, but in following years when they became desperate enough to need some real change in what they'd done. And as you said, Mary Glassman's done a great job holding the line on the Board of Selectmen portion of the budget, but that's 20% of the budget or so, and 10% is debt service, and the remainder is education. And so we need to look at the entire budget and not just the Board of Selectmen budget for how we can be creative, not to cut services necessarily, because people love living in Simsbury. It's a great town. We have a wonderful place, and you asked me what issues we're facing, and so let me be clear, one of the biggest issues we're facing is how do we preserve the great quality of life we have here. We've got tremendous schools and wonderful open space and parks and things like the Simsbury Farms, which not many towns can boast that, and the bike path. But we need to maintain all of that while also making sure that our budget is balanced. And over the last several years, if you look at a graph of where the revenue is, what kind of growth we have in revenue, and what kind of growth we have in overall town expenditures, the expenditures are exceeding the pace of growth in revenue. So you're really kind of left with two options. One is to grow the revenue more, which we certainly need to work toward, and one is to hold the line on spending. In order to grow revenue, I think we need to get creative about attracting businesses and residential development, some of which we're seeing in town now, but particularly, as you mentioned, with the Hartford leaving and some other businesses on shaky ground. We're going to need to fill those holes in creative ways with economic development.
So I was just going to ask, do you think this is the pathway to the solution? Is it a residential issue or a commercial issue?
I think it's both. I mean, I think it's both. There's a mythology that you don't want to do residential development because that will add to the school costs, and it's actually not true. We've had a declining enrollment in the schools for years, and it's predicted to continue. We've lost like 500 kids in the schools, so there's capacity there. You wouldn't have to build new schools if we had some residential development. I see that our time is just about up. Maybe you can summarize where we are.
We need to face some budget realities head on and find ways to maintain our high quality of life and great services in town, and to keep Simsbury among the top towns for educational quality, but to simultaneously get leaner on the spending side and make ourselves more attractive to business and residential development that fits with the character of town and can bring in more revenue. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for being with us.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Lashiver. I am a Democratic Party candidate for position on the Planning Commission, running as a part of Mary Glassman's team. My wife Catherine and I have lived in Simsbury for over 20 years. Our son Ryan McGrath graduated Simsbury High School in 2003, where he was a team captain for both the soccer and lacrosse teams. I've lived in Simsbury longer than I've lived anywhere else, and it truly is my hometown at this point. What is so special about Simsbury is its unique combination of old and new, rural and town, agriculture and commerce. What sets it apart from the surrounding towns is the distinct identities of its various parts. The close-knit sense of place it is the village of Terriffill, the clear identity of the center of town, the history of Weetog, the farm community of West Simsbury. We are fortunate that the town has maintained these identities while many of the towns around us have not. This is due in part to a certain amount of luck that the main commuter routes are east-west and passed above and below us, but is due in large part to the foresight of those who came before us. It is my belief that clear, thoughtful planning is the key to preserving what is best in our town while preparing for the growth that is not only inevitable, but essential to the health of Simsbury. In the past several years, Simsbury has made a remarkable effort to plan for the future. The plan for the center of town is forward-looking and thoughtfully done, and the process already underway to plan for the village of Weetog and for what to do with the Hartford building when it is vacated is way ahead of what other towns would be doing at this early stage. I am a home builder and remodeler with a specialty in historic restorations. I've been on both sides as an applicant for plan approval and as a past member of the Architectural Review Committee in Torrington and current member of the Historic District Commission in Simsbury. I believe my experience and perspective will enable me to contribute to the planning process as we move Simsbury forward into the next decade. I ask that you give me your support on November 5th by electing me to the Planning Commission. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emil Dahlquist. I'm a candidate for the Zoning Commission. I'm asking for your vote on November 5th. As a 35-year resident, I have a broad understanding of Simsbury's history, places, and activities. My life's work is devoted to architecture and planning, and my professional practice is here in Simsbury. I have served the town in various capacities for the past 20 years, including Chairman of the Design Review Board, Chairman of the Building Code Board of Appeals, Chairman of the Simsbury Main Street Partnership Design Committee. For the next few minutes, I will speak to the critical role of the Zoning Commission in shaping our town and why I am qualified to serve in that capacity. Simsbury did not become the unique and attractive place it is today by chance. All communities are shaped by choices made and choices not made by many people over many years. Just as the decisions of our predecessors shaped the Simsbury of today, our actions will shape the Simsbury of tomorrow. The source of Simsbury's uniqueness originates in its variety, landscapes, places, buildings, history, and activities, along with a commitment by residents to preserve those characteristics that reinforce its uniqueness. This commitment is expressed many times over in townwide surveys and many public meetings. Our residents have spoken clearly about two main issues: spreading the tax burden more equitably between commercial and residential, and also about not sacrificing our treasured places and town character in the mix. The challenge then for Simsbury, as with many other communities, is to reconcile the preservation of community character with the economic necessities of developmental growth. This is where the Zoning Commission plays an important, no critical role as the final arbiter in what gets built. As a member of the Zoning Commission, I will use my expertise in architecture and planning to work to achieve this balance. Towns have three tools with which to manage growth: planning, policy, and administration. It all begins with a vision, moves to regulation, and concludes with an implementation. How well is our progress working today? The linchpin is to make land use decisions fair and uniform, and is communication. We have a zoning commission, a planning commission, a design review board, and a conservation commission participating in the land use approval process. As chair of the design review board, I sought out opportunities to collaborate with the other commissions. As a member of the zoning commission, I will work to facilitate better communication between these commissions, because good decisions rely on a diversity of expertise and input. Today, Simsbury is at a point of transformation where new land use strategies are required to combine the visions of our residents with the realities of our time, the imperatives of ecology, affordability, equity, and growth. The popular charrettes for Simsbury Center, Weetog, and the Hartford are three examples of flexible zoning strategies to achieve development predictably through collaboration amongst all stakeholders, including residents. These new strategies introduce new zoning codes that require a deeper understanding of what makes a community look and function the way it does. That understanding comes by way of education and discussion. As an architect with over 40 years of design experience, I understand the complexities of these new codes and how best to implement them in order to achieve a successful outcome for Simsbury. Growth and development that complements and harmonizes with our natural resources, our historic areas, and our neighborhoods. Recent zoning commission decisions have raised questions in the minds of many residents whether the tools available are being utilized and whether there is even a discussion about adopted policy. Each and every zoning decision has a long-lasting consequence, and all decisions matter, small and large. We have only one chance to get new development right. As a zoning commissioner, I will ask appropriate questions, use all the resources and tools available to me, and refer to town policy for each and every application. Simsbury adopted the excellent 2007 Plan of Conservation and Development with substantial input from many thoughtful people over the course of several years. I was actively involved in that drafting and eventual adoption of the POCD. But that valuable resource too often sits on a shelf and is largely ignored by our decision makers. That's more than a disappointment, it's a loss for our town. As a contributor to that policy document, I can say that the POCD created a basis for organizing our town in understandable terms, for agreeing on what we collectively treasure, and for setting guidelines for building in context. It is a plan that offers meaningful and effective solutions. For each application, we should ask ourselves, what is important to our community? What are the criteria for development decisions? What do we want to be? How will we gather and share information and resources to help residents make informed and thoughtful choices about the future? These questions that address our values, our principles, and our common vision need to be answered. The process to make our community constant going forward is to elect the people who share that vision. And as a zoning commissioner, you can be assured of my commitment to that shared vision. Success comes only with intentional and informed choices based upon sound planning by conscientious people with the right balance of objectives for building a stronger community. It's not all about economic development or all about the environment or all about the community. Growth is not simply getting bigger, but rather getting better. We should elect officials who share that vision. 2013 may be an off year in the election cycle, but choosing the right people to steer a successful course for our town is as important this year as any other. That extends from the top of the ticket on down, and especially includes the zoning commission race. Voting is more than a right, it's a privilege and a necessity for all who care about Simsbury's quality of life. I ask for your vote on November 5th to be a voice on the zoning commission for a stronger Simsbury. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jan Beatty, and I'm a candidate for the Library Board of Trustees in the November 2013 election. I'd like to tell you a little about me and why I am asking for your vote. My professional career of 30 years was in college textbook publishing, where I gained experience in all aspects of book production, editing, and marketing, and in education, working with college professors as authors, reviewers, and users of textbooks in fields as diverse as anthropology, music history and theory, poetry, English composition, and art. Since retiring from my last job in publishing as executive editor at Oxford University Press in New York, I've been tutoring homebound middle and high school students, serving as an academic advisor at the ABC House here in Simsbury, and working in visitor services at the Wadsworth Athenaeum. In fact, if you came to the museum on Simsbury Day this year, I probably gave you your admission ticket. I live in Simsbury with my husband, Michael Park, and 2 Labrador retrievers and 2 cats. We moved here 20 years ago, and I quickly came to appreciate what a valuable educational and social resource our library is. Not only is it an outstanding facility with wonderful staff, but it has also become our town square, where people gather for almost any reason you can think of. Both virtually and physically, the library offers everyone in Simsbury an environment that is conducive to thinking and learning. I believe my experiences in educational publishing, education, and visitor services give me a unique perspective on providing resources that both invite and inform our community. and I would be delighted to serve on the library board. I'm Jan Beatty, and you'll find my name in the Democratic column under Library Board of Trustees. I would be honored to have your support and vote this November 5th. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Joy Himmelfarb. I would like, first of all, to thank SCTV for allowing me the time to speak to you and ask for your support. I've been a Simsbury resident for 22 years. When I was choosing a place to live, one of the amenities that first attracted me to Simsbury was its public library. My experience of our library was that of a welcoming place with a staff eager to help. In 22 years, that opinion has only improved. Looking forward to retirement and considering how I would choose to spend my time, I realized very quickly that I wanted to be part of that library and contribute what I could to maintaining that standard of excellence. My first library volunteer experience was participating in the Simsbury Citizens for Library Renewal, the successful campaign for townwide approval of the library expansion. I was so impressed with the dedication of the people on this committee that I knew I was headed in the right direction. I have been a trustee of the library for one term, 6 years. During that time, we opened our beautiful expanded library, enabling us to serve the residents of Simsbury in more and better ways. This board has managed to a decreasing budget without reducing our ability to serve the public. Recently, we hired a new library director, and while I was so sorry to see Sue Bullock depart for her well-earned retirement, I am excited about what directions a new perspective may take us. The library is the natural focus of my interests. My academic background has always centered on literature, while in my professional life I was a software developer. To me, this represents a picture of libraries today and in the future, information centers with an expanding technical component. Our library provides services for every resident of any age, whether it's music, children's programs, business support, technical classes, job search assistance, foreign language groups, book discussions, great decisions, or any of the many other programs and services offered. The library is here for you. I want to see this diversity of experience in the library sustained and grown, and therefore I am asking for your support for another term. Thank you.
On Tuesday, November 5th, you will have the opportunity to vote for 4 members of the Simsbury Library Board of Trustees, 3 for full 6-year terms. I am here today to ask for your vote for one of these positions. My name is Gail Ryan, and I was first elected to the Simsbury Library Board of Trustees in 1991, the same year Mary Glassman was elected to her first term as first selectman. I have been an active member ever since. I served as chairman for 10 years and was most recently the chair of the search committee for the new library director, Lisa Kareem, and also served on the search committee for her predecessor, Sue Bullock. As a board member, I helped with the design of the renovation and expansion of the library and its completion, as well as worked to secure a large HUD grant for the funding of self-checkout equipment. Other major improvements since I have been on the board include the establishment of a world-renowned business resource center and the development of a technology learning center. There has also been the expansion of services available from home, such as electronic books, universal class continuing ed courses, IndieFlix, independent films for your home computer, and downloadable magazines through Zinio. The library is now truly an asset for everyone in town, 24/7. I bring to the board the perspective of an experienced professional librarian. I began my career as a part-time reference librarian at the old Simsbury Public Library while I pursued my master's degree in library science. I have worked as a professional librarian for over 30 years, as a children's librarian, assistant director, and most recently retired after being Associate Director of the Library at the Loomis Chaffee School. My expertise, as well as my knowledge of the community in which my husband Dave and I have lived for over 30 years, I hope will continue to be an asset to the board, and I look forward to continuing to serve the community as a member. The Library Board of Trustees sets policies for the running of the library and helps to develop and oversee expenditure of the budget. In the future, the library hopes to improve the services for teens, as well as continue to provide excellent service for the community. I would like to be a part of this process and ask for your vote on November 5th. Thank you for listening.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.